Televisión, bienvenidos nuevamente a otra edición más de nuestro querido programa, nuestro consentido programa, porque desde que yo comencé, si tú te acuerdas, así lo bautizamos, como el programa consentido de toda la familia allá en el Bronx, Manhattan, en Queens, en Brooklyn también. Queremos avisarles que esta noche estamos aquí en un evento, pues, pomposo, como decimos en el barrio, ¿no? A lo grande. Pues Easy aquí nos va a decir lo que vamos a hacer y qué estamos haciendo este día.
Thank you. We're here at the beautiful Tavern on the Green restaurant in Central Park. You can see around you, it's a beautiful place to be. And we're here celebrating Ion Family Pride, which is a great event sponsored by the Family Pride Coalition, started 27 years ago. It's a great organization that helps families of LGBT men, women, transgendered people learn how to cope, learn how to support their family members who are falling in the LGBT category. And we're also going to be here honoring Carson Kressley of Queer Eye from the Straight Guy and one of our new friends, Marga Gomez.
Excelente. Para que ustedes tengan una idea, es darles a conocer cómo estas familias que viven con personas heterosexuales o bisexuales o lesbianas o de cualquier tipo de índole que ustedes le quieran llamar, porque ahora en día hay familias que son dirigidas por una madre, hay familias que son dirigidas solo por un padre, también hay familias dirigidas por dos papás o por dos mamás. Entonces, ¿cuál es la diferencia? Ninguna. Si ellos aman, pues eso es lo que venimos a averiguar ahora. Cómo esta familia, sus hijos se llevan, cómo hay esa interacción, y eso es lo que vamos a averiguar para que ustedes aprendan, y si necesitan ayuda y apoyo, pues para que ustedes aprendan eso este día. Así que por favor, no dejen de sintonizarlo, que regresamos en un segundo.
We are here with a wonderful guest that I'm very proud to have, because I've read a lot about him. Please welcome Sean Patrick Maloney. He is a candidate for Attorney General in the state of New York, and he also happens to be gay and a father. So welcome, thank you to the program.
Thank you very much.
And being that we are discussing family and gay, LGBT family members, children, all that, let's talk about your family situation.
Sure.
Tell us what you're living with.
What I'm living with. We have, my partner and I have been together for 14 years, and we have 3 children that we've adopted. We have a 16-year-old boy who was 3 years old when we started taking care of him, and we have 2 girls who are 5 and 3, both of whom were newborns, also adopted.
Wow. Now, my main question is, being a father with 2 dads raising 3 children, how have you had to explain why they have 2 fathers, and when they go to school, how come so-and-so has a mom and we don't have a mom? And how do you breach that conversation with them being, two of them being so young and one of them being 16?
Well, let me tell you what we've learned, and I was surprised by it, and then I thought about it and I realized it's obvious, although it wasn't to me before I experienced it, which is that so many kids in grade school have family situations that are not one mom and one dad. They have 2 dads because mom got divorced from dad and now got remarried. And that may have happened, when they were very young. And it may have even happened, they may have half brothers and sisters. They may have a single parent. And what you realize is that it's actually much more the norm to have a family situation that is not one mom and one dad who have been together forever. And maybe that's, people can have a view about that one way or the other, but it is a fact that our kids are not as different as some people might wish to assert, because my kids have said to me a bunch of times, he has 2 dads like me, and I'll say, well, really, what do you mean? And they'll say, well, no, and then when I find out, it's because the parents got divorced, they're still on good terms, and everybody's in everybody's life. I mean, and not only that, but we have family relationships that in some ways are more traditional than the modern American family. And someone wrote an article on this about how in the 19th century it was much more common that lots of people participated in raising the children because everybody had to work and everybody had to live in one place. And so you'd have grandparents and intergenerational parents. You might have people who were working for the family on the farm who were part of the family. You might have other important people involved. And so it's this sort of takes a village idea. And when I look at my own family, I realize that's really true. I mean, we have wonderful friends who aren't raising kids of their own, but who have become uncles in a sense to our children and who play a big role in their lives, who are there for birthdays and celebrations. And So look, I think the only thing you can do is love your kids as much as you can and give them a secure, wonderful place to grow up. And I think that gives them an advantage, not a disadvantage, from a lot of kids.
Oh, of course. Now, living in New York, granted, it is a very tolerant city. Have been moments where there's an awkwardness in understanding, or people reacting to you or your children because of your situation?
I can't really think of a single time that's happened, and maybe we're unusual that way, or maybe it's where we lived. But you know, my son was in public school in PS3 for most of the time. He was in elementary school, and I can't think of a single time. The truth is, and my little girls are in Catholic school now, and the parents couldn't be nicer. I think that most people one-on-one are really good people, and they recognize that, you know, that there's lots of different kinds of, you know, this is New York City, right? And there's lots of different kinds of families. You know, I think what's more important to them is whether we're showing up to volunteer when it's the bake sale, or whether we're bringing things to the, you know, and I think if you're a good person and your heart's in the right place, that tends to come back to you. We've been really fortunate that I can't think of a single time where our kids have ever faced that. And I tell you, I can think of a time that was even, I'll tell you one story. You know, when my son was 13, he was doing wrestling, and Randy and I showed up, my partner and I showed up, and we were talking in the car before we got there, and we said, okay, you know, this is a high school wrestling meet, right? I mean, you know, it might be that we want to put ourselves in the background a little bit because, you know, you worry about whether your kid might, just what you're asking, right? So I said, you know, we don't really want to embarrass the kid. We don't want to write fun. So we show up all ready to put ourselves in the closet a little bit. And and we get there, and of course my kid isn't in the locker room right away, but all of his friends and teammates are. And all of them come up to us and say, oh, you're Mr. Maloney, you worked in the White House. Oh, you're Mr. Florkey, you do this and that. And they knew who we were, and they knew what we did, and they knew things about our lives, which I found really touching because it meant that my kid was telling them all. Mm-hmm. And they thought it was all really cool. And you know what, you realize, like, the kids are all right. Like, you know, like, kids are the best people in America on our issues. You look at any of the polling, and it's right there. People under 30, people under 25, get this issue as a you know, human rights issue, and it's very exciting.
So you've mentioned wrestling matches, parent meetings. I mean, you're juggling a lot. You have a huge campaign.
Sure.
What's it the day-to-day like?
It can be hectic, there's no doubt. But look, it's no more hectic than people who are struggling to make ends meet and work. I mean, you know, I've had the benefit of a good education and good jobs, and you know, yeah, I'm doing a lot of stuff, but you know, think about a lesbian couple that is trying to raise a couple of kids and who are working and have inflexible schedules and don't get a lot of time off and don't have great benefits and don't have the money to have a great you know, apartment. I mean, lots of people struggle, but that's just being a parent. I mean, I think that what I find is that you just gotta have your priorities straight. Right. We all tell ourselves that we don't have enough time in life. Truth is, we don't have enough focus. We don't focus on what really the important thing is. So when I was at the White House, I worked in the White House for 3 years. My kid was playing Little League baseball, and of course that wasn't enough. So he said, "I want to play Little League soccer too." And I was thinking, "Oh, honey, you're killing me." So I had 2 sports schedules, one on the weekend, one during the week, soccer and baseball. And I made a promise to myself. I said, I'm not going to miss a single game. And I'm working in the West Wing, and there were a million reasons to miss games. But I thought, you just stand up from your desk and you walk out the door. And it's amazing. The sky doesn't fall. The world doesn't end. And what you end up doing is you get more productive before you leave and more productive after you come back. And I just think if we focus on your priorities, there's always time for the important things.
Well, the important thing right now is your campaign, one of the many important things. Let's talk about the campaign,
Sure.
how it's going. You're running on the Democratic ticket.
That's right. Well, I'm running for State Attorney General in New York. This is Eliot Spitzer's job. Eliot Spitzer is running for governor, so it's an open seat. I will be the first gay or lesbian person ever elected statewide anywhere in America, let alone in New York. And so it's a historic race in that sense. We've raised about $1.5 million, which is great in a first race. We've got the endorsement of the Victory Fund and the Pride Agenda, which are the 2 biggest national and state organizations that do politics. And so we're off to a great start. You know, this is, you know, I have a record and a resume that fits very well for this office. You know, I think folks watching should know, you know, I'm not just running as a gay candidate. I'm not running because I'm gay. You know, I'm running as a guy who is qualified, who has ideas and the passion to do this work. And I'm gay, and I'm not running as a gay guy, but I'm not running away from it either. And we're going to find out whether New York is ready to let folks like us participate at all levels of New York politics, and I think it's time.
Now, how can the audience find out more information on Sean Patrick Maloney?
Well, the easiest way for folks who are online is to go to SeanMaloney.com. It's spelled SeanMaloney.com. We've got a great website. You can watch videos. You can learn more about the race. You can also call my campaign office, which is 212-206-6707, and we'll be happy to fill you in. But the name is Sean Maloney, and I'd appreciate the support.
Yeah, thank you very much. Sean Patrick Maloney, thank you again.
Thank you.
State Attorney General, I'm voting for him. You better too. We're here with a new family couple here. We have Joe and Mark. Welcome to the program. But tell us a little bit about your family situation.
Well, we have a 9.5-year-old daughter, and she was adopted, and we live here in New York on the Upper West Side. She's in the 3rd grade.
She's wonderful.
She's terrific. She's gorgeous,
smart,
charming,
talented.
And we're very proud.
Now, adoption, how difficult was that as a gay couple adopting a child?
We actually did it as a single parent, and then we did a second parent adoption. And when we did it 10 years ago, that was sort of the way you had to do it.
Right.
And it was very easy, actually. I applied to the agency in May, and she was born in January.
Wow.
So it was very, very quick, shorter than the usual time.
Right.
And it was wonderful. It was a very easy process, very simple. The adoption was finalized. It was wonderful.
Now, you gentlemen are both professional, busy men. How is it raising a daughter in New York City?
Busy. Very, very busy. You know, I tell people all the time that are thinking about having a child, and I think this is true for any couple where both people work, that however much work you think it's going to be, it's 10 times as much.
True.
The rewards are 100 times as much. And, you know, sometimes at the end of the day, you think like, you know, how do you do this? You know, and I look back, you know, we have, you know, luckily we have a lot of resources, you know, at our disposal, you know, family, you know, education, schools, and which is really great. And I look back at my own parents and think that on high school education they raised 4 children, and
I don't know.
it's amazing.
Mine was 5, and I don't know how they did it.
Yeah.
Just the end of the day comes around at 8:30, and she goes to sleep at 8:30, and I think we are ready to fall asleep at 9:30. It's just the way it works out.
Now, talking about resources, how has your family and friends sort of been there for you, if they have, during your parenting process?
They've been great. I mean, my mother has watched our daughter since she was born. She's watching her tonight while we're here. And she has been her babysitter. My family has been extremely supportive, so has Mark's. We have a great family support system, and friends. We're just thrilled. When we did this 9.5 years ago, we were sort of in the forefront of it because there weren't many guys having kids, but everybody that we knew was extremely supportive. And now it's a lot more common, but it was great.
I have 2 sisters who are adopted, so the whole and 1 biological brother I have. So, you know, the whole process of you know, having siblings, you know, who are adopted. You know, I'm very close with my sisters, so that was not new to me. Whereas in Joe's family, that is, you know, was somewhat new.
Right.
And but we've had nothing but support from both our families.
Now, on the home personal front, when you guys are home, does someone do the cooking? Does someone do the disciplining? Is it more of a group thing? How do you guys, you know, take your parts?
We kind of split it. I mean, it depends what day of the week it is. She plays us off
Someone's
each other.
good cop one day.
Good cop, bad cop. It depends if she says, "Daddy, I love you," and Papa's really mean to me. And then next day she'll say, "Papa, Daddy's really a mean, nasty guy, and you're wonderful, and I love you." So she just does that. But I think it's very evenly split.
Yeah.
And as far as the chores at home, Mark does probably a little bit more than I do. He has a little more flexible schedule than I do.
Right.
But we kind of split it, and you have to. We both, we're both working full time, and so it's busy.
Now, kids tend to say anything, ask anything. Has she ever asked something and you're like,
oh yes, yeah,
every day.
Oh, yeah, every day.
You know, at least with adults, again, I tell my friends that you always have that little bit of preparation, you know, where they say, you know, I have something I need to ask you, you know. But with kids, there's no preparation whatsoever.
None at all.
And you're driving down the road, and, you know, and they come out with, you know, something about, you know, their birth parents or whatever, you know, and you almost run the car off because you're just not expecting it, you know. And you try to fortify yourself, but, you know, I think it's one thing that we've learned, and also reading in books, I think it's really important not to let them shock you and not to let them sense your uncomfortableness with certain subjects.
Sure.
Because then they'll just stop asking.
Right.
And I was in a situation just last week, actually, where a very good friend of hers, very sweet little girl, no malice, it was intended, but as we were sitting there, she started asking this friend of hers very blunt questions about Emma's birth, circumstances, and did you buy her, and this, so, and later, the little girl's grandmother apologized to me, and I said, no, you know what, I would rather have this come out in front of me, so I know what's going on and I can deal with it than not know about it, because, as it turned out, our daughter herself didn't have a good understanding of how finances are involved in adoption. She knows all about adoption, but we've never discussed the financial aspect. So it was good.
Because if you're awkward about it, then she's awkward about it, and it's not the way to approach it.
And I think the other thing is just we err toward the side of total truth. Right. Because if you try and make up a story, they figure it out, and they catch you.
Right.
And then you're in bigger trouble because they're like crazy.
So what brings you here?
We've been involved with Family Pride Coalition for quite some time. We were on the host committee. Mark did a great deal of work in gathering people to come tonight, and we think this is a wonderful organization. We think it does wonderful things for our family and for other gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender families. And we think that it's an organization that we are very passionate about, and that's why we're here tonight.
Great. Well, thank you guys very much for coming. It's a great event. You did a great job. The place is packed.
It wasn't just me.
It was, but he was a big part of it, and he did a great job.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you so much. Very nice to meet you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. No se muevan.
We are here with a very important person of the evening, Jennifer Krishler, who's the Executive Director of Family Pride. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
It's been a great event so far, amazing turnout. You've had great guests speaking, a lot of laughs, and you've had a very passionate speech you just gave to the audience. And my first question is, how has the evening gone for you so far?
The evening's been a tremendous success. We have over 200 people in attendance. It's the largest event we've ever done in New York City, and I think it really speaks to how galvanized and committed parents are to our civil rights issues, how important they feel LGBT civil rights are for them as they're raising their children. So it's been a smashing success.
Now, a year ago, she was a stay-at-home mom.
I was.
Jump to a year later, what's it been like this past year?
It's been a great year. It's been a crazy year. My kids understand that I go to work every day to make their lives better, and I think they get that when a parent really feels committed to issues of equality, they understand that I have to go to work every day. And they love, there's some things that we do as an organization, Family Week in Provincetown, that they get to go to, and they think that's really awesome. So.
Now, we've had a great opportunity to talk to different families and their experience. So I want to ask you about the nitty-gritty of Family Pride.
Yeah.
You spoke about the academic symposium.
Yep.
Tell us more about that.
It's a great event. We have two keynote speakers coming from across the country, one from England and one from California. We have over 180 folks who are coming, academics, PhDs, people who have researched and done studies on LGBT people raising children, who've done studies on kids and how they're adjusting. So it's going to be a great opportunity to talk about for 2 days our families, our lives, how our children are doing, and to really help educate academics, the press, other folks about what the research really says, which is that there is no debate about an LGBT person's ability to parent, none at all.
Now, let's say after your symposium, how do you see it trickling down to the classroom?
I think we're going to see it in some really important ways. We have people coming from mainstream outlets like Child Magazine and Parenting Magazine, magazines that have traditionally left our families off the table when talking about raising children. And I think that's really part of what we're trying to do at Family Pride. The reality is that less than 25% of the children in this country are being raised by a married mother and father. That means 75% of the kids in this country are being raised by grandparents or guardians or gay and lesbian parents or are in the foster care system. And we really need to start expanding in this country our definition of what it means to be a family. It is not a married mom and dad in a suburb with a house and a white picket fence and 2.5 kids and a dog. That's not the reality of who we are. Yeah. And other cultures clearly understand that. They have networks of people and kinship networks that work all the time to help protect children, and it's a big family affair to raise a child.
Now, what advice would you have for, let's say, the mother whose son or daughter just came out, or, you know, someone being a parent of a gay or lesbian child? What can you tell them?
Well, I think I can tell them a couple things. It doesn't mean that every dream or aspiration you had for your child is lost. As a matter of fact, if you dream of being a grandparent, if you dream of being at your child's wedding, all of those things are still there. They're possible. So you need to hold on to the idea that they can still be the people that you always imagined them to be. It just may be that the person they're doing that with in their lives isn't exactly how you pictured them. And I would also say to the children who are coming out to their parents, somebody once gave me very sage advice. They said to me, how long did it take you to get comfortable with who you are and to come out? You need to give your parents at least half as much of that time. Mm-hmm. So you need to, kids need to be patient if they can with parents, because I've seen parents do amazing turnarounds, particularly when children come into their lives, because grandkids are really compelling.
Mm-hmm. So what do you hope for the next year to come to see happen for the organization?
You know, our goal is really focused in one primary area, and that's getting visibility for LGBT families in any way we can. So whether that's participating in community events, whether it's doing another big grand event like our participation in the White House egg roll, whether that's our membership writing letters to the editors and sending in birth announcements to their local newspapers, we want to consistently hammer home the message that we are here, we are raising kids, and our families need protection and all of the things that help make families strong.
So how can our families out there get more information and either support you or look to you for support?
They can go right to our website, which is www.familypride.org. And you can learn all about our organization at our website, and I invite you to come, I invite you to read, and I invite you to learn more about Family Pride.
Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thank
Please
you.
check out the website, a lot of information. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Queridos televidentes, esto fue todo por esta noche. Espero que lo hayan disfrutado y que también hayan aprendido, porque lo más importante de esto fue que ustedes hayan aprendido que nuestra sociedad y nuestra comunidad se aprenda a definir, a ayudar, a tolerar y aceptar lo que está pasando en la vida, ¿no? Si vemos otro tipo de situaciones y no decimos nada y que realmente afectan nuestra mente, esto que se vio aquí, las familias como pudieron compartir con nosotros, es algo maravilloso que en ningún mejor otro lugar los niños pueden estar. Con quien les dé amor, seguridad, protección. ¿Qué mejor que eso? Aparte de eso, quiero que Izzy le va a decir algo acerca de lo que ha pasado a través de estos 2 años, que hay personas que nos están apoyando. Pues él va a mencionar quiénes son esas personas que queremos darle las gracias.
We know you love the show, and we love you for loving the show. So, we want you to do us a big favor and write or call. The information is right below us on the screen right here. And let us know who you are and any great stories you have about the show that you love. And also, thank you to our sponsors, HX, Next, and The Blade. And one thing we learned in this show is family is what you make it. So, love your family, whoever it is. Thank you very much. We love you guys.
No se olviden que estamos aquí todos los fines de semana, quienes están en el Bronx, los viernes por la noche, quienes viven en Manhattan, los lunes y no sé qué otro día, las personas que viven en Queens y los que cruzan la frontera de Brooklyn a Queens también.
Tell your Brooklyn friends
y aquellas personas
to get us
que
a
nos
sponsor,
visitan. Sí, por
and we'll
favor.
come over to you guys too.
Necesitamos personas que viven en Brooklyn para que puedan darnos apoyo y nos patrocinen, porque eso es lo que necesitamos.
Just a signature, no
Con eso
money,
es suficiente.
just
Sí.
support.
Y ya saben, pendientes de nosotros, de nuestras actividades, visiten la página a esas personas que nos visitan a través de todo el mundo, que nos escriben desde Brasil, desde Francia, Alemania, Argentina, toda Latinoamérica y por supuesto toda nuestra nación americana. Muchísimas gracias por su apoyo, por su atención, por lo que expresan acerca de nuestro programa. Estamos realmente felices y contentos de poder estar con ustedes por más casi 2 años. Ya vamos para arriba, ¿no? Pero necesitamos su apoyo. Muchísimas gracias por su fina atención. Les queremos Izzy Ruiz y Giovanna Castillo. Chao, chao, bye bye.